Hi, everyone. This is Tom Grisak. It's Saturday, June 5th, 2021, and I'm going to give our just quick weekly marketing update. You might be interested in a couple of deals that we did and a couple of listings we have coming. And also, I want to share a story. I've been out here for a long time, and a lot of these homes have stories that go with them. And I don't share them a lot, but I'm going to start doing that because I think it'll give you a little insight into how this market works. It'll also tell you, even agents that have been doing this for a long time, like me, like I've been doing it, we can make mistakes. And I'm going to share one of those with you. One of the things that I did on one of these homes. This is our last week we had 860 Quail Rise, which was priced at 1.6 and it sold for 1.7. I'll show you pictures of that in just a second because that's the home I want to talk about. There's a history to that home. We also sold 150 of Brookhaven Drive. This home is different than Quail Rise. It's whereas Quail Rise is kind of surrounded by trees. It's almost hidden from the streets. Beautiful big woods all around it. Totally private backyard, which you'll see. This is more open, set for horses, while the other one is more compartmentalized. This home has got more of an open floor plan. So this home took, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, I think, to go under contract after we had it hit the MLS, and pretty easy transaction. These next two sales are city properties, and as you can see, when you get in that 500,000, 345,000, those homes sell quickly if they're well taken care of and they don't have issues with them. Someone's going to pick those up. It's just this market is still crazy. I don't know how many offers we had on either one of these homes, but I'm sure there were six, seven, or eight. But they all closed on time and without issues. We did sell a lot here on Country Club. It's in Harbor Oak Estates. That's in Fairview, Lovejoy ISD, and priced at 400,000. That is one of the last remaining lots in Fairview. Fairview is really tightened up, and there are going to be some opportunities coming up for lots that I'll be talking about here in the next week or two, especially in Lovejoy ISD. There's a development that Tony Pruch is doing with Homes by J. Anthony, and we've got a development in Lucas that we're going to be doing called Barrett Lake. So I'll be talking a lot more of those later, but those will be coming on later on in the year. Anyway, lots out here within Lovejoy, 450, 500,000. That's pretty much the norm for a 1 acre lot. And I'll show you a neat home later this week where Homes by J. Anthony built a home on a 1 acre lot, a single story, really cool home. We'll be sharing those pictures with you too. Heather and Aaron and I did a walkthrough on it. Really neat home. This last home here, 9 Orchard Road, sold quickly. We knew it would. We represented the buyers on this. It was listed at 485,000. Anything on acreage in Lucas or Fairview under 500,000, you ought to take a strong look at it. Probably going to need some remodeling well, it will remodeling and updating if it's within Lovejoy. You can find some homes that are under that price if you go into Fairview and you don't need Lovejoy ISD, but Lovejoy ISD lands on acreage. It's just very hard to find. This home here, 691 Maple Creek, actually, we had that under contract a couple of weeks ago when it fell out. I'm not sure if the buyer couldn't get financing or what happened, but it went under contract again 2 or 3 days ago. Outstanding home. It's in Stone Creek Estates of Fairview, also Lovejoy ISD, heavily wooded, beautifully finished out, got a great setup for a party home. And one of the neatest garages you'll ever see with true marble floors, beautiful backyard. You can see the picture there. So that one, hopefully we'll get that one closed in 3 or 4 weeks. And literally, folks, we are running out of product. We are almost at, it's been a great year. I don't know what we're at now, probably 55, 60 million, maybe sold already, but we are running out of listings. So let us know if you want to sell something. And then we do have a new listing coming here at 202 Green Trail, and that home will be available in about 2 weeks. We can't show it yet. They're still getting it ready. The way the MLS is set up, even we can't show a home to our buyers unless everybody else gets a shot at looking at it too. So that's going to be coming up probably maybe the week after next, 1,075,000, and I have a feeling that one's going to go pretty quickly. Okay, the one I wanted to talk to you about is 860 Quail Rise. So that's this home right here. And as you can see, it's a on a wooded lot. Let me go front pictures first. Heavily wooded lot. You almost can't see the home from the street because it's set up over a hill with a neat winding driveway to go down to it. But look at that backyard. People really, a lot of people think that if you're on an acre or even 2 acres, you have privacy in the backyard, but that's really not always the case. Because you could be backing up to home, you could have homes on either side of you, and Fairview and Lucas and then these new subdivisions are not going to allow any kind of stockade fencing, so it takes a while for that landscaping to give you total privacy. But this is one of those homes that has had it for a long time. As you can see, there's nothing back between that neat guest home or the pool house and the home, so you've got those beautiful west sunsets. Really just a gorgeous backyard, and I know the sellers made good use of it. So I think the family that bought this is going to have some really nice memories in this home. Very nicely finished out. Homes of this genre, I can't remember when this home was built, but you'll notice there's a lot of heavy moldings. That was very prominent at the time, that style. 7, 8 inch moldings. This is very, very typical of the home that was built at that period. Now you're seeing less heavy moldings in homes, cleaner lines as far as not having any distractions where there may be some thin moldings at the top, but usually nothing overpowering. But the trim work on this home was just phenomenal. And if you like that style, which it is a fabulous home, this is your home. It's more compartmentalized too, in that it's not a big wide open floor plan, which a lot of people are kind of getting away from. This is has more different. The theater room is separate from the game room, and the living area, and everything is. It gives you separation from other people in the home. So that's the cool thing about that home that I liked. So the story about this home, this is, I actually had sold this home back in 2000 and, I'm sorry, it was sold in 2006 to the original buyer. I wasn't involved in that, and they paid 1.4 million. Now 1.4 now, even though it's a lot of money, that's not like it was 11 years ago. 1.4 million 11 years ago, that was a very rare commodity. So when that happened, whether they overpaid or not, you could make your own call on it. It's a very expensive home to build, but honestly, I that set the bar for a long time, that 1.4 on that home. So that's what the buyers were in it for. The home ended up being foreclosed on. The bank called me, and I ended up selling the home for $800,000. That was in 2010. And of course, that's when the 2008, 2009, 2010. That's when we were really hit hard by all the stock market foreclosures and everything. So 800,000 was a real good buy on that home. Then here we are 11 years later, and it just sold for over 1.7 million. So that shows you this market it usually doesn't fluctuate that much, but people sometimes are worried about overpaying for a home, maybe paying 10 or 15, $20,000 more for a home than they think is market. If you're planning on being your home out here in Fairview and Lucas for 5 years, 6 years, whatever, that's going to be lost in the noise. Though that price will be made up, and you'll be pleasantly surprised when you're ready to sell your home. I think there are a lot of people out there that might be, even right now, kicking themselves that they didn't buy a home 2 or 3 years ago when they see what these home prices are now. And even now, this is historical times for us. I do think that if you buy a home right now, in another 5 or 6 years, you're going to see a tremendous gain. No guarantees in life, but I think with the community that Fairview and Lucas is, and the everything we have going for us in here, that's just going to continue to drive those prices up. So this is the story behind the story. Once this home sold at 1.4, I got a call from one of the neighbors. I won't name the home, obviously, but they asked me to come price their home. And I'm conservative by nature in my pricing. I always have been. But I felt like I said, you're not going to want to hear this, but I think maybe 950, somewhere in there, 975. That ought to be where you should be on this home. That's where you'll end up, somewhere in that range. And I said, at least I'd listed at that start right there. Well, of course, they didn't like that price, because they're right 2 or 3 doors down from a $1.4 million home, and they're thinking, well, how can that be 1.4? And mine's not even $1 million. The home next to you, or across the street, or down the street, or one street over, really has no bearing on your home. Especially when someone pays way over what I consider market, that doesn't set the market for that neighborhood. You have to have other comparables to support that price. And of course, they didn't support the price, and those people ended up not selling their home for 2 years with other agents. They weren't going to call me, but they never sold their home with other agents. So that was they lost a lot of time, I think, and could have been moved on with their life, a lot earlier, and it ended up selling for 900,000. So what does that tell you? But I learned a good lesson on that too. First of all, when I use the word clutter, I always I always follow that up with clutter does not mean dirty. What happened on that home when I visited with those people, I said, you got a beautiful home, but there is a lot of clutter in here that I would say, have a stager. We've got a stager, have her come in and remove some of that. Well, I didn't realize it, but apparently that word really offended that Mrs. Seller. I'm pretty I'm pretty open when I talk to people. They may not like what I say, but I say like I think, and I try to be cautious with my words. But clutter just wasn't a word that I thought would offend someone. Well, the husband had called me when I couldn't get the wife to call me back, and he said, "Well, you really upset my wife. You said her home was dirty." And I said, I never said her home was dirty. He said, "Yeah, you said it was dirty." And then I realized what he meant. I said, "Oh, no, I said it was cluttered. There's a lot of things in it." So, a term that I would use and not think twice about, you've got to be very careful with people. And I will still say clutter sometimes, but I will back it up with clutter. Doesn't mean dirty. It just means there's a lot of distractions to the eye. And as realtors, we're always trying to get rid of those eye distractions. So anyway, it was a good lesson for me. It was a good lesson for that neighbor down the street because they lost 2 years of living in the home. They could have moved on. And it's a good lesson for anybody that's thinking about should they buy now, or they're thinking that we're at the top of the market and it's going to come down. It might, but even at where we are now and the type of closed environment we have in Fairview and Lucas, I think you're making a smart buy, and I would buy it now. And in fact, that same point was reiterated. I've got a great interview coming up with a walkthrough on a new home with Tony Prooch that built his new got a new project in Harbor Oaks, single story, beautiful, exactly what people are looking for right now. And I walked through it with Aaron and Heather and Tony, and I'll have that in another 2 or 3 days. You'll really like that home. It's cool. It's not our listing. We're like y'all. We like to go through homes and see them, and this is a really cool home. So I'll be looking forward to that, and I hope you got something out of this. And next week I'll give you another report. Hopefully we'll have some more listings and some more sales we can talk to you about, and I'll maybe share another story. Thank you.